Hello and welcome back to episode 31 of Insurance Isn't Boring. We are really excited today to be bringing you Jannelle Jemmott. She is direct to Chris Clark, quite an impressive individual. Just in the month of July, she issue paid, so that is business that was approved and issued, 65,000 on her own pen. Her team, their best month has been a little over 155,000. She's an elite producer, agency owner, and she's doing all of this. Wife with three children who are young, by the way. And so we're really excited to hear kind of how you balance everything, how you think about the business, what's important to you, how you do things. And we are recording this a day earlier than we usually do. So, Janelle, how's your Thursday going?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. I think we have just about 24 to 48 hours to crush the week. So I would say if you look at today, it might be day 1 if you're not there yet, or it might be, day 5 and you're still pushing ahead. So, yeah, good week so far.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. What's just for I mean, you've already got street cred thanks to Xander, but what are you at for the week so far, Janelle?
78,000.
The team?
Nope, me?
You're at
78,000?
78,000 on the week.
Yep.
Holy
Part of that
smokes. I
part
thought you
of that
misspoke
is
there.
FIF resets. Either, you know, you have a team that's willing to do the same as the leader. And that's one important thing that we can kind of talk about a little bit. If you lead a certain way, your team's going to follow a certain way. And then they'll do the same to the next group of people. So I
Mm,
think one of the main things that become a very difficult things for us to do as human beings is to remember to be selfless. So
mm,
if you can just take care of you, the others will take care of themselves because they see you, right? And so
Right.
I think, doing your best work means taking care of your week and doing what you can to help people, and that's what I focus on. So it might sound like a big week, but for me, I'm like, "I'm just getting started. What else can I
right.
do?"
Right. I mean, you're on pace to have a record September. I mean, 78 grand and it's September 4th.
I know, and just to kinda go
Good
back
lord.
and kinda talk a little bit about that 155 you guys talked about, that was on my own pen. That's the most I've done in 1 month by
We
Oh,
myself.
misread
wow.
that.
Yeah.
Good lord.
What's the
Yeah.
most the team's ever done?
I don't know, somewhere north of that. But I will tell you that I will tell you that that's something that I'm still working on because I gotta be
Mm,
humble too. I can't just say that, I have the best functioning team compared to many other teams out there. Because Symmetry got some woo, he got some heavy hitters out there, right? Like, Dylan
yeah.
Crane is crushing it. We've got people like Sarah Reinecke and Jamie Susie who may not write on their own pen, but they're at the point where they're pushing a lot of millions per month just on the team's effort. So that's
Right.
something that I'm trying to grow towards. I'm trying to become the person that allows the team to start to expand to the level that I'm at. So, I keep this humble mindset. Like, I just recently put out a post on my Instagram and Facebook stating that life is so much easier when you're humble.
Mm, I agree with that.
You know?
100%.
We've referenced a book. I think we've referenced this book more than any other book, but it's called Ego is the Enemy. And
Great
I
book.
think humility will make you better at sales. It'll help you attract better people to your team. You'll be way better received by the clients that we're helping and serving every day. Probably helps the relationship dynamic between you and your mentor be so much better and healthy. Um, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, now that you say that, just recently we did an internal Chris Clark agency call this week, and that's exactly what I talked about because I think one of the things that we learn, especially in our organization more than anywhere else, which definitely resonates with me, that's why I'm here, is the idea of mastering the things that we're not good at. And so my five voice starts, I'm a pioneer by nature. So I don't have to think about hustling. I don't have to think about being on a leaderboard in most cases because that's my natural ability. It's my strength. But the other side of the spectrum is how well are you with building long-lasting relationships and having a great bandwidth with that, maybe over 200, 300, 400 people? What about 1,000 people? And
Right.
that's where I started understanding, over time, like, be a better leader and the people will come. You'll be attracted to you if you just be a good human being. Do all the
Mm,
things that you're supposed to do at work, help more people, and you'll see how that bandwidth begins to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So I believe in a lot of taking time to slow down, even as a pioneer, and strengthen up the muscle that's not strong enough yet. And that's why I'm so adamant about being selfless and leading the way the proper way, if that makes sense.
mm, it
Makes
does.
perfect sense. And
So or go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Xander.
Elijah. Well, I was gonna say I want to get into all of this stuff, building, juggling. I know for a fact, just from some of the people we were talking to before this, they're going to be abusing us in the comments if we don't ask you what leads you're working, what your schedule looks like. I mean, 78,000 a week. That Elijah, that's going to be a record on the show. I don't think anyone's had that big of a week yet.
I haven't had that big of a month, bro.
Yeah.
The week, the month that I did 155K, I did 90,000 in a day. And that's what really got
Pause.
me the momentum to go to 155 because I had told Christopher Clark 2 years ago. So let's go back and be a little bit I will get to leads, and I promise I'll answer all those questions that everyone loves, but it's numbers, 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 because that's very valuable and what we need in order to drive business in here. But to
Yeah.
be honest, I set this goal 2.5 years ago, and I didn't accomplish it.
Mm,
And I'll tell you who I had the conversation with. Ashley Richard, who is a neighbor of mine here in Florida. She and I were hanging out in, like,
really?
21 in Fort Lauderdale in a corporate overview, and she became my next best, coolest buddy inside of Symmetry to some extent,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
interviewed her because she was an AO at the point in time. And
Mhm.
what I really liked about her and another guy that was on the panel, forgive me, I can't remember his last name, but his name is Jesse, and he lived in New Jersey,
Yep,
is that
Jesse
Jesse was
Backrat.
talking there you go, back, right. Jesse was talking a lot about pushing 100K. So again, association is really important as much as numbers. And so I started pinpointing, okay, these are the individuals I need to be around. I have the vision. Now, what do I get as the tools? What do I need? Leads? How many leads? How many weeks? How many hours? What does it look like with my schedule with kids? How do I accomplish that? And so funny, Brad Smith had Chase the Ace where we went to Cancun. I was the first person, I don't know, to get in like 45 days or whatever it was. But I'm in the pool with him and Jeremy Whitaker. We've got Mylon Farkner. We've got Josh Manzano. We've got David Alvarado. We're all in the pool with our kids, our family, our whatever. And I go, I'm going to do 100K. And he was like, go for it. That's Brad, right? He's always like, whatever, just do it. Right. And so
Mhm.
I go, so what do you think I need to do to get this done? Because I was talking to Ashley Richard about it and she was like, go get it. Guess what? I kid you not. Right after that trip, February, March, April of 2022, I believe, Ashley Richards did $300,100 back to back to back to back. It didn't crush my will. It made me go like, oh, sugar. When you say something, you better do it because someone else is going to do it.
Yeah,
And
my
it was
word.
great because it started this ripple effect. Well, a lot of people right after her started doing the same thing. In
Mhm.
all honesty, I was super happy because this is a thing that I think many of us can do if we really put our mind to it. And it's something that you can do within a small space of time. You don't need to be superhero for like the entire year,
Right.
right? So I say that to say it took me a while to get there, but that day when I did that 90K, that was it. I'm like, I'm gone clear. I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get to 180 like Dylan, but I didn't do it. So it's coming around hopefully soon. Let me see if someone has to pull you, right? Someone has to
Yeah.
pull
Right.
you. Yeah,
I mean, the association in this company is second to none. And Ashley is a freaking gangster. Like, we had her
she
on the
is.
podcast a few months ago, and she told us about that 90-day run and how she was writing apps on the side of a glacier in Alaska. And
Yep.
it was cool to see not only a producer do that, but also a producer like herself with the background and story that she has and where she came from and really why she was pushing for that. And the crazy thing about that specific run for her is she did all of that on basic mortgage protection and life insurance, which I think is easier for some agents, maybe more difficult for others just because the APV is lower per app. But there's more agents now within our company selling over $100,000 in a month on their own pen than ever before. Like before, it was just this thing that like one or two people did, and now there's a bunch. And it's uh it's one of those things that I'm like, man, is that even, can I do that? Like, is that possible? And I had no clue. When you texted me your numbers, I assumed, okay, that's what her agency's doing, which as an agency, doing 155K in a month is hella impressive. It's even more impressive knowing that that's your own personal sales.
Yeah, I'm striving to stay like Max. Max is like we always say we're brothers and sisters from a different parent, but
Yeah.
Max is killing it at that right now. He's at 155 and holding it. That's where
Mhm.
because I'm a new AO, I need to start to adapt and getting that going. But
Yeah.
um, I have no fear. It's gonna be coming.
Mm.
No
So we're
kidding.
gonna get into the weeds here and kind of just break down like how the hell are you doing this? But just to kind of give people a little bit of background, Janelle, on who are you? Where'd you come from? Like how'd you find symmetry? What were you doing before? Um, yeah, just dig into a little bit of your background just so that the people can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, that's a big one, but I'll try my best to keep it as narrow but as precise as can be. Grew up in Long Island, New York. Um, Originally, went to school in South Florida at about 17 years old, and I fell in love with it. So I do currently live in South Florida.
Nice.
Went to school to become a doctor. In my 5th year of medical, which would have been your 1st year of residency, I decided I don't know if this is exactly how I want to impact someone. So sometimes it's easier for us to notice the I do not want thing versus the thing that I want. But I knew that that wasn't the ideal place just yet. Or I wasn't sure that I would stay there. So I left and I went into more of the medical management side where I was a PM for quite some time. I did take a break from medical field. I went into events management because I wanted a different perspective. Um, by nature, I'm a hustler. My mom and dad are business owners, okay, from New York. We
Yeah.
grew up on the Great South Bay. We're always on a boat. We own barges. We own assets all over the place. My brother works Wall Street. So I kind of had a little bit of things in my back pocket that I can resonate when it came to being in this field at some point in time.
Hmm.
About 9 years, I lived outside the United States and I worked with the Ministry of Tourism in the Caribbean, dealing with 1 million+ people in events every year. So I
Wow.
dealt with Beyonce, Trey Songz. I had all the Caribbean reggae artists and soca artists, and interacted with people from Virgin Atlantic all the way up to Branson's like executive assistant. NFL players that became my really good friends. Usain Bolt and his chief executive officers are all my good friends. So I built a good team of people around me, but that's just me. I like people in
Mm.
general, and I like to just be around. So I did that. Came back into the U.S. when my dad was kind of sick, brought my whole family back, and I went back into medical, and after, like, 2 years of just working 70 hours a week, my 3 young kids at the point in time were all under the age of 10, and it wasn't working. My
Mm.
son literally called me auntie one day, and I almost broke down because I
Oh my
would leave in
gosh.
the dark during the winter and come back in the dark, or I'd travel a lot, and I think that just got to my heart, and I was like, "This can't continue. You know way better than this." And so I left the medical field, working in, implementations of softwares and medical and clinical trials and the FDA and all that good stuff. And I went out searching to become an advisor. And the first place I landed was back into Florida because I love Florida. And I went out to Los Olas and I decided, hey, I'm going to go apply to Wells Fargo, all these different places, Merrill Lynch. And I did. I went into Morgan Stanley. I did some interviews there, Wells Fargo. None of those places really just was like, that's the place I want to be.
Yeah.
And this was like borderline coming into pandemic, right? Where the
Okay.
year before. So all I say is like, hey, I'm just going to keep applying and something's going to happen. I know the person that I am. Once I see it, I know what I'm going to get. And out of the blue, Symmetry ad came up. I applied for it. I didn't even remember it. And then I have, my upline at that point in time was doing the interview with me, but I really got in touch with Symmetry when I met Christopher Clark. And when I totally understood in that second call with him, I just asked him two things. Do I have to go door knock? If I do, I don't mind. I'm a hustler, I'll do it. But do I have to? Right? And if I don't have to do that, what are the hours? Is it flexible so that I can help my kids and all these different things? And that was it. gone clear. I was like, "I'm in. I'm sold. Tell me where to go, what to buy. What do we do next?" Wasn't
Mm,
easy the first month and a half, but I worked it until I was able to get out of it because I started here at $50. Xander and Elijah, I started here at $50. I had moved from Maryland to Florida with a family of 5, new house coming in, and I was spending a lot of money.
right.
Okay, new private school for my kids. They were all in private school, by the way, down to even the young one. And it's like I was literally using up my 401k, which I had so gladly understood that you should never probably take out money at a young age. You get taxed. All these things is what started driving that understanding of finance, right? And then,
Right.
yeah, the rest is history, really. So,
Wow. Wow. So that was in what, 2020? You got in touch with Chris Clark?
yep, 2020.
5 years. 5 years, and you are killing it. Killing it. Um, Go ahead, Xander. I know you've got 15 burning questions you wanna dig into here. You go first, man.
Well, so I'm really curious about your schedule because Elijah and I are both childless at least for now. And I always feel like I got a lot of balls in the air, but I don't have any kids, right? That's much less 3 of them. And so to be producing at such a high level, to be building a team, owning your own agency, and then obviously coming here so that you could have more time with your family. I'm curious what like a day or a week in your life looks like to be doing things at the level that you are.
Yeah, it's not easy, Xander. That's a great question. I'm not gonna say that every day I'm 100 and perfect with it. But what I will tell you is I have maybe a little bit of edge because I did come from project management and we have to manage projects from one milestone to the next,
Mm,
right?
Yeah.
Um, so that kind of helped me a bit. Um, what I do for me, I put my family's things on my calendar first, and then I work my work around those things. So the
smart.
non-negotiable is my family. That's the reason why I left the other position,
Right.
right? And then I put in, okay, what are the, if I have my clients meeting, they go in next as much as my training meetings with, if I'm on the L10, which I am, if I need to be in an AO meeting, those are things I don't really want to miss. That's non negotiable as well. And I'm putting in all the solid things first. Okay. Um, and another thing that I get really good at, I'm addicted to reading. So if I find that I do have like a minute where I am not picking up a kid or cooking, I have like 50 books around me that you guys can't even see right now. It's a little disturbing. Right? So why am I talking about calendar and books? Because if I find that my mind wants to derail, it's not going to derail on something that's not going to be beneficial to my company or to my
Mm,
kids.
right. Right.
Right? So I'm not going to choose Netflix at that time in the day at all if I can help it. So I put things right at my reach so I have no other choice but just either I'm going to kick the book or my hand's going to fall on that book and go, oh, yeah, let me just read this. I'm putting things in place to remind me to stay productive. Right.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um, my kid, I have an older a teenager that plays a lot of soccer, and I've been working this project of trying to get all of my children are entrepreneur mindset. Like I have a daughter that sold all of the potato chips in our house at school and made 85 bucks on the bus, right? So that's
Wow.
that's
because they're
awesome.
seeing mom working and my husband's also a business owner. So they're seeing this and they're adapting to what we're doing. And so that makes it easier because our kids don't resist what we're doing. They're in tune with what we're doing. So we teach them
Mm.
giant toolkit things like if I put 5 up, I'm doing this, don't disturb, right? If I say 1, they go, "Oh my god, we're going to the beach," or 2, right? "Mom, where we're going?
Love
Are
it.
we going to the mall?" Right? They understand the code language, and I bring my kids to symmetry things. So we were all in Denver.
Nice. Yeah,
Okay.
My
Very cool.
husband's there as well. So, like, one of the things that I think a lot of people may struggle with if you have other people that are in your family is that you need to bring them to events so that they can begin to understand and not resist you unless you're willing to just give up that relationship, right?
yeah,
So
right.
that kind of helps me. And just I identify. Like if you cannot identify with who you are today and who you're going to be in 5 years, you're going to misjudge the steps you need to take to get there. And all of us will at some point, even for a little bit. We're humans. Some days we're just not going to be 100. I am not 100 all the time. But I
Yep.
do know the more times I fall off the horse and I go, I should have not done that at 2 p.m. today. That won't happen again next week. I get back to that and I try to fix it. So that's where I'm
Mm,
at with calendar management.
wow. Um, would how many hours a week are you putting into your business? Like income producing activities, would you say it's over 40, under 40? Because I mean, you're obviously full time.
Yes.
What does that workload look like?
So I would say I start every morning around 8:30, like solid, like really running. And at the computer and we're gonna getting ready to run. And I will go all the way up to about 2 p.m. in the day. I do take a break. I have to. I have to decompress. I have to come out, either read a book like I say, or I'm cooking dinner already at that point. So from 8:30 to 2, that's my main morning schedule. And then I come back around 3:30, 4 p.m. in the afternoon and I work all the way up to 7:30, 8 o'clock in most times. Now, if I'm running for something, a promotion, that goes back to sometimes 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Okay.
Are you running appointments that late? Are you dialing? Are you working like different time zones to hit that?
Yeah. So when I
Okay.
was in my first and second year, I was working all four time zones. I'd put the kids to bed. They
Wow.
were under, remember, they were under age 10 at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
just about. And so I would put them to bed and work all the way up to 10:30, 11 at night. And I'm calling California. Actually, Richards does the same thing, calling California, we're calling Colorado, I'm calling the different time zones. And so that used to help a lot. It made it so much easier, and I don't have to stress that I'm not getting the people that I need to on the East Coast. Um, Outside of that, I would say that if I'm missing leads, just to kind of pivot a bit, if I'm running through the night and I'm missing leads, like say my dial times are, I have 3 dial hours in the day that's set out, but I over dial. Why do I over dial? Because I have a no show. So when I'm no showing, there's a no show, I'm dialing again, right?
Yep.
We all know
Mhm.
this, but
Yep.
I don't stray from it. That's the difference. Like I am adamant, like this is a rule in my company. When there's a no show, when you don't get an appointment that goes in the right direction, your job is to go replace it.
Right.
And don't get one, get three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even better.
That's a nugget right there. If you're listening and you're like, if so many people don't do it. I don't understand. Like if you block off an hour to run an appointment and they no show you, it happens all the time. I had 3 no shows yesterday. The temptation is, okay, I'm gonna go make a sandwich, or I'm gonna go do the dishes, or I'm gonna go take the dogs for a walk, or whatever. Because you're working from home. It's so easy to just, I don't know, the TV's right down the hall. Like using that same hour to go book 3 or 5 or I don't know, 6, 7 appointments if you're using Funnel, like that is the best use of your time. So it's no shocker that that's what you do. Um,
Tell you what, if I've ever missed not doing what I just said, and this is for anyone that's listening, because I know a lot of you do a lot of missing, right? This is what you probably need to do, and this is where Janelle, because I'm a hustler, I'm going to make up for that time. If I
mhm,
lost time the day before, the week before, I promise you the next week I'm making up for it. Either in APV, I'm going to hustle and find some sort of a different type of account that's going to be a little bit bigger. I'm doing something to replace that gap that I have. And you have to have that mindset because there are going to be times where your human self is going to go down the hallway, go watch that Netflix, right? But you have 4 weeks to correct this in a
Right.
mhm,
month. So you got to figure out how, okay, the second best thing is to do what next? And that's always my play, right? It's always, what else can I do now that I'm put myself in this situation? You can get yourself out, right? A lot of people think they're trapped. Oh, that's it. I didn't do the work. I can't get the APV now. I went and I looked at the movies and I took my dog for a walk. I'm so upset with myself. Well, instead of getting upset, journal about it for 2 minutes, get up and go do the next best thing.
mm,
Right.
I
Tomorrow's a new
love that.
day. Next hour is a new hour.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a lot of nuggets on production. I know I'll personally be re-listening to some of this, but I'm also curious about building because Elijah and I have both talked about it. Like it can be, especially at the beginning, it can almost feel like there's some friction, right? You got to talk about putting our own oxygen mask on first. How do you? I guess what are you doing for recruiting? Time block that and training, supporting agents? Like, what does that look like? Writing the numbers that you are, I would imagine that you got to have that pretty dialed in as well.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think between the two boxes that Casey Watkins tells us to fill, that's the one that I believe, and I always knew this is not something I know today. I saw it happening, and then I
Mm,
work my way through it. I think we struggle with that. Like you said, there's a little bit of friction. We're trying to understand how to balance that. And so I think the balance for me is not being able to interview, right? I've always been okay finding the time. Like, again, time management, I'm excited. Like, what's next, right? So I get to the appointment, I get to the interviews, I get the people in. I think one of the things that I struggled with at first when I was coming in here is to get them to truly convert and stick, the stick ratio.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not that I didn't understand, that this can occur. I think what a lot of us struggle with at some point is how do we break through the next level? So what's different between the old Janelle in Symmetry versus the Janelle today that you see? I already knew that I needed X amount of money in order to break through the next level. You have to level up financially, right? One pushes the other. The other thing is you have to have a mindset that just today, Edward Pritchard was talking to us about this and about expanding. Like, why is this a question for some people still, even at an AO level? Like, you should not even doubt this, that it is no different than producing. Let's give an example. If I'm spending $1,000 to $1,200, which I am in most weeks for leads, why would I spend per week? Why would I spend any different in recruiting, right? As a matter of fact, if we're all playing the long game, which I believe most of us are trying to do so, then at some point, 1,200 should be like every 3 days in recruiting, right? So this is the difference between what Dylan Crane was saying the other day on our national call, and I totally resonate with him because I get it. Like there is no mistake that this version of Janelle is going to make that mistake and not level up at the amount that's needed. One, I have the production and I have to maintain that at the level that it's at, so it's continue to reinvest. It also helps me connect with my agent. So let me give you an example. Okay. What you need to do is build out other people. And one of the reasons I think a lot of agents kind of churn in this system is they're not able to actually get enough traction fast enough on either side of the boxes. Okay. Are you guys still with me?
100%. Oh,
Oh,
100%.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, what am I gonna do different in understanding how to turn these people? So, one secret thing I think is if you're unable to get that agent to really start to produce on their own enough, you need to have something else that supplements that. So, for me, I'm a subject matter expert in here. So, advanced market is a thing that I'm pretty good at. And so I'm going to open the doorway for those agents, just like Dylan had said, to start to learn these things with me as fast as possible. One, I want them to see that I can do it, and that means that they have a possibility of doing it as well, right? And in doing so, I'm also leading them by saying, "Hey, you start to do this with me, you get some money up front, even if you don't run your appointments and make everything that you're trying to go through the door, you're still gonna make money, and here's what we're gonna do. If I help you, if you join me in some way as a business partner in getting, into recruiting, and you're able to bring, let's say, go find 2 warm markets. I'll give you the opportunity to possibly get 2 cold markets from me. So I'm matching them with what I'm doing. I'm
I
giving
love
them
I
instead
like
of just
that.
saying, go do it all by yourself,
Right,
right? That's the
right.
old version of me. And so on top of that, knowing that I'm that far ahead of most new agents, now I can invest in them properly because I'm writing the production, because our team is starting to produce and they're seeing it happen. So building for me is now even more clear than before because I understand reinvest more money in this per week, per month, and then show your new agents the ability to do it with you instead of just go do it by yourself.
Mm,
Right. You're
I love
incentivizing it.
that because you're helping your people get people quickly before they have the money to really throw at cold market recruiting. And you're also
Right.
doing the production side spinoff too, where you're having them book FIFs for you and doing app splits really early on out the gate, which is so freaking smart. I love that Dylan talked about that, and it's a lot of people are doing it, but I think shedding a light on that's a huge untapped opportunity. It wasn't even a thing when I got here. Didn't sell an annuity for the first 6 years of me being here because I just didn't ask the questions.
Yeah.
Um,
The
one
thing
thing I
about
wanna
living
ask or go ahead, Xander.
that's just so gold. Dylan was talking about it yesterday, but I don't think it's just a new way of looking at it of like, hey, if you can go find somebody to help, right? Like, in his example, debt-free life, right? Go find somebody to just have a conversation. You can then incentivize. They're gonna get that license really quickly if they know that there's $2,500, $5,000 on the other side of it, and it's just so brilliant. And that's not something I had thought of before. It's just such a great way to introduce people, and then talking about the investment side of things, right? Suddenly, there's money to invest in leads. Don't tell me we don't have money to invest in leads. You just got a $3,000 commission, you know?
Yeah. I actually what I did want 2 things I wanna talk to on that. I had an agent that came in and she's like, "I don't have all this money." So we did the app split, and I said, "I'm gonna pay you X amount of money," because she had gotten her license legally, we can give her that commission now. I said, "But I'm gonna hold this amount back. Can you tell me why?" I didn't give her the answer. She was like, "Because Engage is coming up and I need this to get there." I said, "Yeah." And I'm gonna buy it on the computer and share the screen with you, and we're gonna purchase it right now on the screen. Ticket,
Beautiful.
Ignite ticket, flight, hotel. So if we take that same concept, think about it. When a lot of people come here, they're coming from W-2. What is one of the number one things or reasons why most people in a W-2 usually stay? Their company's matching them on an IRA or 401k. Why are you not matching your employee when they come in on things,
Mm, I love
It's a
that.
great question.
right?
I
Yeah.
love that.
So you do, I give. You do it, I'll give you again. Keep going, I'll give you again, but you gotta do it in order for me to give, right? So you gotta do something. It's not a free giveaway, right? But it's
Mm.
teaching that person that when you do something, you can get rewarded if you're doing it the right things and you're gonna propel through the system if you and again, I'm a young AO in the sense of like growth and all these different things, but the mindset that I have might be at the same level as some of the directs because that's what they're doing, right?
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
Couple things. You mentioned that you're spending about $1,200 per week on leads. For the people curious, a lot of people get hung up on leads and they're like, the reason I'm not doing what they're doing is because I don't know what leads they're taking. What kind of leads are you buying? And then we can kind of go from there. I want to talk about advanced markets and FIFs because that's really the secret sauce to how you're putting up such insane premium. But what do you take on a weekly basis, Janelle?
yeah, so I have a standing lead order is a thing that we all should be doing. If you're
Yep.
not doing it, believe me or not, I know some people are not doing it, but they should be. Standing lead order is really important. So I have all my bonus leads set up. I don't discriminate, guys. Leads are leads. They're clients. And so I'm going to work them and not leave money on the table. Now, it's up to the individual of how they want to do it, but I have MIB, MIC on rotation every single week. I have about 45 of those. It used to be about 15, 20 because that's what I could handle at the point in time, but I've upgraded, I'm upgrading those things. Um, and then I have MIAs. Now, MIAs and CIAs are my two buckets that I generally work with. Mortgage protection leads. There
That's
are
so good to
times in
know.
the year that I will add little different things, like maybe some IULs or maybe some tax-free, but very rare. It's not something that's consistent. Might be on a run and I want to up some things, but generally MIBs, MIAs, CIAs, CIBs. That's where I'm at.
Wow. I love that. I've been working bonus leads since day one. I've had an MIB, or back in the day, we called them B1s, but it's just an
B1,
age lead. And I've
right?
had the SLO for that for 7 years. Haven't turned it off. And then I've got an MIA lead order too. So you're just taking, for the people out there, just to clarify a couple things, she's only taking mortgage protection leads right now, with the exception of every now and then she'll take an IUL lead or something like that. How are you uncovering the advanced market opportunities? You're a subject matter expert, so that means you're doing IULs, annuities, infinite banking, debt-free life, all the things. Um, and for the agents out there who can't or don't want to learn how to do that, that's where the FIF comes in. But how are you uncovering these opportunities to write these bigger deals that can lead to a $155,000 month and a $90,000 day? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So it's been a road. Well, I identified at first that I wanted to be a SME at some point in time. So I did do the shadowing when it was like barely a thing. I actually created
Mhm.
that shadowing thing. I created it with someone that I knew came from Morgan Stanley, but he was doing fairly well in here. And he showed me at one time, and I was like, I got this. Nope. Janelle had to study. I took some time and I read through a lot of documents. Again, I told you I read a lot in between my day. And so what I'm doing is like mastering my skills. And I knew at some point that I'm gonna get this, right? But I did. So what I'm doing is one thing I notice is that the scripts at Symmetry, it specifically tells you to break down the financial sector with that client enough so that you can kind of get an edge of what's happening. And
Yeah.
so I instantly started doing that and I record every client that I have, guys, on my Zoom. And I would go back and listen to see if I had done a good job or not. Did I discover they had a 401k? Did I discover that they had uh, 3 mortgages and like 10 credit cards? Did I ask those simple questions, right? While I was doing the mortgage protection. So I made it part of the package. Hey, I just need to know this information. It's very important for us to not overinsure you, underinsure you. We also get underwriting criterias that we have to go through with the senior underwriters that they're going to ask, hey, did you do this part? And so it opened up the doorway for a lot of clients to trust me. And I didn't dig very deeply in these appointments. We're here for mortgage insurance, but I had a great idea of what might exist. And so my practice was even on my old leads, which I still do, right, is to go back and never change that. If you're doing the full script, the FIF is in it, the
Yep.
first appointment script, right? So you've got to do that with every single client. And that's what I mean by saying don't leave any money on the table because you're starting to see that this client has other things that in their financial planning that needs help. Okay. And at some point in the presentation, whether it's the end or maybe another appointment where you have to check in for policy when they got that policy delivered to them, you go, hey, I remember you having this IRA and it's just sitting there, you're not contributing to it. And then you have this second 401k, and that's where I'm throwing in, hey, we have these services that can help you. It's the end of the year, like now, quarter 4, and everyone's gonna go through taxing, right? They're gonna go through this. What can you do to either offset, underwrite, like have these assets to help you? Would you want to know more? In most
Mm,
instances, everyone says yes, even if it doesn't turn out to be a full application. They still got free information from me, and I feel very happy doing so. So I'm
yeah.
motivated by that. Another thing that I did, I was invited to a PCS group, which is policy services group where you go back and you revisit clients that you've had for 1 year. And I talked about this in the advanced breakout in conference this last 2 or 3 weeks, where I said, if you're here for about at least a year, you have a book of business. Go back and show that you care beyond just writing them a mortgage insurance. Please do. Most of them are very happy to see you. And in most cases, like Dylan Craig saying, they're not going to say, hey, close my account. Who does that? They're
Right.
actually gonna say, "Hey, Christmas is coming up. My kid needs this amount of money for college or whatever." So PCS taught me, I was teamed up through Chris and Josh Manzana's crew. I love that group, and I learned so much more there. And so I use those 2 things plus FIF resets with new agents to kinda get into the game with that, and I absolutely adore it.
Mm. And just to add one quick thing here, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Xander, but for the people who don't know what an FIF or what PCS stands for, basically it's just working your existing book of business to help the clients that you help with life insurance or mortgage protection, help them with some of our other solution sets that weren't really the focus on the initial conversation. And the mortgage protection, the life insurance, that gets you in the door, okay? And you could make a great living just doing that, but you can make a killing helping them with retirement, with index universal life, with protecting their nest egg with annuities and helping them get out of debt. And if you don't want to go through the trouble of getting those certifications and learning all of that, you can partner with a SME, a subject matter expert, who will basically white glove the entire process for you and do a split of commission. And working your existing book of business is something that I've done a little bit of. I need to do more of it because I just looked at my opt. I have 1,700 clients that I need to go work through
I'm guilty of
and
the same thing.
ask these questions. So you're keeping it sounds like you're keeping it simple, Janelle. You're just asking like, "Hey, do you have any old 401ks, any IRAs? Talk to me a little about your debt." Like you're not getting into the weeds asking, "What percentage did you earn on your retirement last quarter?" It's so simple, it's easy to not do. I love that. So this week, for example, 77,000 or 78,000. What was that? Was that an annuity? Was it IULs? What was that?
Yes, there's a partial rollover for 1.2 million.
Oh my god.
Big annuity.
What does a commission look like? You don't need to give the exact numbers. What does that look like? I mean, that's a fat
How much?
deposit.
Yeah, it's a sizable deposit. We're at 5% on capped, but
Okay.
in some parts it's going to be closer to 6.5% depending on
Mm,
your contract level, 6-7% depending on your contract level.
of
Um,
1.2 million. And
yes.
just to remind people, Janelle, how much did it cost to get your insurance license and give you the ability to go do these types of deals?
Without doing a 20-hour course in Florida State, it is 44 bucks.
This is crazy. This
I
is
love
crazy.
when I interview someone and like, yeah, I just I don't have the money to get a license. It's like I'm gonna send them this episode. It's costing you more not to have it. Uh,
A lot more.
I I had a couple of kind of different questions for you. Number one, you said you read a lot. Do you have a favorite book that maybe one on leadership, one on sales?
Good question. I don't have favorite books, but I have some people that I like to follow. So if I and I like their books, that's why I'm telling you this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Grant Cardone and I silently are somehow family or friends because I feel like I can resonate with a lot of things that he's saying. Not only that, I admire the guy, right? For some people, this might be kind of not the thing for them, but that's okay. That's where I'm into. So I follow a lot of his stuff, his podcasts. I always have been. Uh, Kind of into a little bit about real estate and those types of things. So I love all of his books. 10X book, I have all three. Well, my third one is beginning to read one of his books, but my other two have already read it twice. Right.
Nice.
So I do like Grant, Benjamin Hardy. I like his books. I actually was coached by him twice. I went all the way up to his gold or platinum courses. I invested in that. Grant Cadone too. I went to about 2, 3, 4 months of, in person because he's right here in Aventura, and it was in the office and kinda learning a lot from him. So those 2 people. I do like Maxwell a lot, so I read a lot of Maxwell books as well. Simon Sinek, oh my goodness. Give me
Yeah.
some Simon Sinek, Start with the Why, Infinity Game, those types of things are really good books. And I mean, I don't really pick and choose much. I just read books that are going to take me in the right direction. So Go for No is really important for people who are in this industry. I think a lot of new people struggle with a lot of people telling them no. And it's
yeah.
just part of business. You have to be able to eat that and absorb it and just be like, I'm not looking for that. I'm sorting for the yes. Atomic Habits, your discipline, how well you're getting up in a day. Another good book, Make Your Bed. Like these simple little books, get up and be disciplined about simple things, then you live your whole life like that.
Right.
Right? So, there are tons of books that I'm always interested in. I'll tell you right now, I'm reading the Harvard Business Review books, Mental
Mm,
Toughness, High Performance, like those types of things are really good books, for you to kinda relate to what am I missing? What am I not getting if you're not getting traction, right? So I
mm.
mean, you name it, I'm there. I mean, Chris and I'm like, "Chris, what are you reading?" He's like, "I'm reading this." I'm like, "Oh, I'm getting that." And I'm like, "I'm reading this." We go back and forth because I believe that reading is really the key to unlocking a lot of minds.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Readers are
Mm,
leaders.
so true. Um, Janelle, there's people listening to this while they're driving, in the gym, whatever, they're doing stuff. And I know that there's people listening to this who are maybe in a rut, or maybe they had a bad week, or maybe they had a rough month and they didn't hit their goals. I'd love to give the listeners a chance to be coached by you for 5 minutes. So if you're talking to an agent who is maybe in a low patch, sales is like this sometimes if you're inconsistent. How would you coach somebody to get out of a rut and establish momentum? Because that's something that you obviously have and you've been had momentum. What would you tell somebody like that who's maybe having a rough week and maybe not necessarily needs a pep talk, but more so hey, go do this.
Yeah. First thing I would say, and this is in all honesty, is me too. I was not always good and great at everything that I'm doing. It's the honest truth. There I can remember one time, and I would tell a story because stories are things that people can resonate with. Okay. I will say this publicly in front of everyone. There was one day in symmetry where I found myself on the ground of my office and I cried 35 minutes straight. I'm the pioneer. Pioneers are generally not emotional people. But man, was I feeling broken
Mm,
because I couldn't believe that the strength and the belief I had in myself to keep going could actually be broken. And it was. And the reason why I would say this to this person is everyone has to remember to be human at the same time. You cannot be Superman every single day or Superwoman every single day. It is actually healthy for you to understand that you're in a gap and to be feeling down in the dumps. What is not okay is for you to stay there.
mm,
And so the first thing I would say, go ahead and have that tear, go ahead and cry, put it in a journal, get all that emotion out. And then the next thing I need you to do is get some good sleep, wake up the next day breathing, and go after it again and again and again. And the more times you do, it's all about how many times you do this. You must succeed. Do not stray from it. And I would also say, find support with some coaching and some mentoring with great people that can help you keep moving in that direction. But I will not say to not cry, not have that day being a human. That is absolutely okay.
mm. I like that. I like that a lot. Go ahead and be human. Get some good sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. Get after it. I love it. Dinner, what you got, man? I know we're coming up here. He's got a dinner he's got to go to in a little bit. Any last minute parting thoughts you wanna dig into here?
Well, this might sound a little bit frivolous after a deeper question and answer. I for someone writing mortgage protection, I always we work with so many great carriers, but one thing I've wanted to start asking people is if they have like a favorite carrier that they, hey, this is kind of my go-to. I know their underwriting inside and out. I know they approve things quickly. If you have a favorite carrier, obviously annuities, IULs that can, you know, different situations, but just for like mortgage protection or standard, life insurance.
I go for any carrier that moves the fastest. So SBLI, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm done. That's where I'm at with it because it's all about efficiency. And you also want that client to feel very happy very quick.
Yeah.
Right. So this is not any difference for when I'm doing advanced market. I'm not going to go take a very long app either. Right. And F&G, I love them. I love America. I like SBLI. American Amicable, believe it or not, home certainty. I used to crush that. Why? Because you can put a spouse on it, and spouse they love this thing. What you can put me and her on the same app? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Let's get it done. Mortgage protected. I love their brochure, like their consumer brochure with the house and the family. I mean, it just sells itself.
Yep.
And the app is, like, really quick. So for me, the company is based on how fast that app can move and get them underwritten and covered as quick as possible. And
Mm,
that's the company that's the company that's gonna win.
Right.
same.
Right.
Same.
Yeah. I like speed as well. Interesting. I use all those carriers too. And then the other thing that we definitely do not want to miss is someone's listening to this. They're like, man, I love her energy. I can really relate to her story. If they want to get in touch with you and join your team or hear more about how you do things, what's the best way for someone listening to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we have social media, thank God, we walk around with it in our pocket every single day. So LinkedIn is a great place to find me, Facebook or Instagram. My name is on the screen, guys. If you see it, it's literally that, spelt exactly with those 2 N's and 2 M's and 2 T's. Yes, I'm 2 of everything.
2L.
So, I mean, to everything, it's not that hard. You can always message me at any point in time, and I'll get to it, or my admin will jump in and respond to you guys as fast as possible. I I do try to get back to people as fast within 24 hours or less. I'll be there in front of you trying to talk to you, but feel free.
I love it. I love it. Janelle, thanks so much for being on. You are a wealth of wisdom. We'll have to talk more off the record about advanced markets and how to maximize that because I've been missing that opportunity. But you dropped some bombs, and this is one of those episodes you guys got to go back and listen to 2 or 3 times. And then not only do that, but go apply it. Okay. Don't be listening to the podcast and then just going about your day and doing nothing different. Um, but with that being said, I mean, you're probably going to sell 100 grand this week with the role that you're on. Forget $100,000 a month. Make that week one of September. But appreciate you so much for being on and just being real and being vulnerable. And really grateful for this conversation. I think this was a really good one.
I appreciate
Likewise.
you, Elijah and Xanda. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for inviting me here today, and I hope we impacted a lot of people's lives.
I think so. I think so.
Absolutely.
With that, we'll see you guys next Friday. Go out, have a great week. Talk to y'all later.
Bye bye.